Sexy Dana. Tell you that you made it to day 86. Day. Day 86. Let me make sure. Is it day 86? It's day 86. Hello and welcome. My name is Bree. My friends call me Breezy. I haven't done an intro like that in a minute. Like, like I'm talking to people outside of my ancestors, okay? I feel like that's what we got here today. And what a blessing, what an honor it is to even be able to have this opportunity. So hey, I'm just gonna riff of what's been happening. What's been happening. So as you know, I am still on my juice cleanse. We've gone above and beyond 40 days. We've doubled that successfully. And now we are introducing new strength to the system. So I decided I was going to do a parasite cleanse even deeper. So the real point of doing a juice fast, biologically, not just spiritually, not just mentally, well, all that gets, when you hit one part of the triangle, all of it gets affected. But a main factor or a main result of doing a juice cleanse and incorporating binders like psyllium husk and bentonite clay to extract everything that those juices have been loosening up is to indeed produce mucoid plaque. And mucoid plaque is basically a biofilm, a substance of mucus, of just, it looks like tar coming out of you. It looks like slimy tar coming out of you. And that is what's keeping you from absorbing any amount of nutrients, any amount of creatine, protein. You're not even absorbing it. Your vitamins are just going straight through you. Did you know that? The food, the acai bowls, the injection, all that majority, maybe anywhere from 10 to like 50 to 60% is getting to you. Imagine only getting 10% of the nutrients that you've been taking in, the organic juices, the organic salads, all that, and you're only absorbing 10%. And you're still fatigued, and your nails are still brittle, and your hair is falling out, and your skin is atrocious, and all that. That's because something is eating it before you. An entity you invited in, not by any fault of your own, but now that we have the awareness, we can do something about it. And they create these biofilms around themselves to protect themselves from outside elements. It can be as hard as the outside of a shell. It can be as soft as mucus, but they have encased themselves in this substance that is taking up the whole lining of your colon. So you can't understand, your doctor can't understand, your family can't understand, like why is it your food? Is it what is it? Just how you invited other personalities and coping mechanisms to get through life. These parasites, these worms, these entities, these energies that operate on the lowest of possible frequencies, which gets produced through you because they feed on serotonin, which is your happy drug, and you've been depressed for 5 years and don't know why. Something is literally extracting nutrients from you. And these entities can show up in people too. You're married to an energy sucker. So you're accustomed to your resources being drained of you and still showing up. Every parasite needs a host, whether we're talking biologically or in a friendship or in a partnership or in a job. A parasite needs the host. And you're over here saying like, oof, I won't put up a fight. Yeah, I'm a binge eater. Yeah, I dabble in this. And yeah, you just want to feel good. You just want some relief. And you were taught to get that through food, get that through people. So you're putting basically your health, whether that's mental or physical or spiritual, in the hands of something else, in the hands of something outside of you. And by golly, the only way that is an appropriate gesture to make is if you're outsourcing to something larger than you, not on the same or lower frequency as you. That's when you outsource. When situations you can't see the clarity just yet, you can't see how this is unfolding, you can't see the end, so you start to panic and you start to worry. That's a huge indicator that, oh, I'm getting out of myself. I recognize I'm getting out of myself. So let me go ahead and send that spaceship up to my higher self to deal with, because she's already done this before, or God's already knows what that He wants me to do. But no, we gotta figure it out. We gotta do it the way we done it. We have to do it the way our parents did it. We have to do it the way society told us to do it. You're inviting the opinions, the lives of others, the influence of others. That's taking your natural energies. You've gotten so accustomed to inviting outside entities to make decisions for you, to make you feel better, to make you feel loved, to make you feel appreciated. Just talking about it is exhausting. Sorry, you get rid. I've been there. I've been there. I've been there. Still kind of wiggle, 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 wiggle. Had to catch myself. Had a nice call with the gentleman tonight. I could have probably talked to him for hours, but no. Breezy needs to make her video. Breezy needs to make her daily posts. Breezy needs to finish hydrating, and Breezy needs to take her binders and drink a ton of water before she goes to sleep and washes her face and moisturizes and snuggle with Raj. Feeding into myself. If I were still outsourcing my happiness, my appreciation, my energy out to somebody, instead of knowing I get that from me, we probably would have still been on the phone right now. He would have got the impression that, oh, she definitely says this is her past her bedtime, and she hasn't told me to get off the phone. Mind you, this was juicy. We was having, oh my gosh, we were having a great conversation. I like him. I like him. Just knowing and saying that, I don't need anything to come of it. I am just grateful for the experience. I'm like, oh, people like you exist. I could put that new thought pattern, create that new neural pathway that, oh my gosh, beautiful people like this man exist. How he talks to me, how he really listens and reflects. Oh my gosh. He's a phenomenal communicator. You wouldn't know it, but he looks out of her. He look out of her. Okay. But he's, he's a little ginger. He like, So some tales say the gingers are the black folks of the white folks. So we have this natural incline to one another. I think that's why the Scots and the Irish love us so much. The bit more Northern Ireland. Um, you know, and he's 7, 8 years older than me. So playful. He's an absolute rock star. Like he's the star of his life. Do you know? I've always been with kind of introverts. I've never been with a high energy person. Usually the more reserved ones are attracted to my flame. But when I get with those people, it's only been a couple, they get excitable. Like their true personality comes out, and I tend to get more reserved. But even him, I know going at gatherings, I will not have to do anything. I will not have to perform. Yes, you shouldn't have to perform in anything you do, but that's just my natural way of giving love and energy to people, to crowds, is to be a form of entertainment. But this guy is an entertainer of his own, and he is so smart. And he's been through you could just pick up when you start getting authentic with yourself, girl. When you start being purifying your intentions, when you start treating people exactly how ooh, I got a story for you. Ooh. When you start treating yourself exactly how you anticipate, you remember I tell you I do favors for myself all throughout the day. I do favors for my future self all throughout the day. I know Breezy would love if I gave myself a facial right now, so her skin will be glowing tomorrow. I know Breezy would love if I picked up all these clothes right now so she can wake up in a clean room and just be at peace. I know Breezy would love if I already did these juices for her. Even though I'm so tired right now, I know she would be so grateful. So by you doing for you, you invite that energy. You're surrounded with that energy and that frequency once it goes around, because the universe is constantly scanning you of what your intentions are, what your thoughts are, and just trying to give you back what you're putting out there. People are going to want to show up and do that for you. And mind you, there's going to be other entities that get through the filter. And that's just a way of confirming whether you are going to dip down in frequency to get something familiar, to get a breadcrumb, or you're going to keep that high frequency like, oh, no, thank you. I know better's coming from me. Thank you. Thank you. I don't eat that anymore. Thank you. I have something else. I don't tolerate that anymore. Thank you. I am not in rooms where I am not respected. Thank you. That brings me to my next story. Oh my gosh. I was working and doing a couple of shifts, and I was picking up from this Chinese restaurant that I do pretty often. Three of them, we get like I squeal every time I see them. They were on a first name basis, but there's one guy who works, and he is always so just, just rude and just. I'm like, it's the parasites. It has to be. It has to be. This is not a reflection on you. Like, he'll sometimes act like he doesn't see me, and I was just like, "Why?" One day I asked him, I'm like, "Why do you have to be so mean?" I was in a low spot. I was just like, "Why do you have to be so mean?" It was more rhetorical, and it started off as a thought, but by the time I realized it came out of my mouth, I was just like, "Well, oops," and I just grabbed it and go. And so I went to go pick up from this restaurant. I was waiting right behind the girl that he was being helped. It was only me waiting. Waiting, 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 waiting. She was finally done. She got her order and she left. It was finally time for me to check in. As she left, I stepped forward. He looked over my shoulder, and as I was stepping forward, another family came in. Family of four, white, just painting the picture. He immediately looked over me and he was like, "Oh, hi. How many?" I'm like, "I guess I'm not that important. I've been waiting here to check in." And I could see the order was waiting for me right there. It is so funny that your wounds, what really gets under your skin, is going to come full fledged. I am a quite positive person, bubbly person, but we all got that dog still in us. So, okay. And when the hit dog holla, I'm like, girl, there would have been a time where would have ruminated on that for days. Definitely the remaining of my night. So he looked over me, completely passed over me. And even the white family was looking at, but I could tell, I'm like, some Asian cultures are quite racist. So I didn't know if that was what it was or what, but everybody else loves me in there. They always got my orders. They always knew exactly. But he had a disdain, and it's not my business to know why. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm not that important. I looked at the family. I looked at them. They were looking at me awkwardly. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Before I could utter anything else, I felt the heat on my neck. I'm like, I just went like this, and I walked out. I was like, no more. I will no longer tolerate this. Even if it was a nice little chunk of tip or a nice little for the amount, it was a good amount. No. I am not willing to show I'm going to tolerate. Yes, that level of exposure makes my awareness more like, oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot. This really bothers you when you're not acknowledged. This really affects you. That's why you make it a point to have everybody in your presence feel acknowledged. Because that has such an effect on you. because your emotions weren't acknowledged growing up. They couldn't be. You had a single mom who was exhausted. You think she wanted to know how you felt when she was going through her own rage fest? We tend to carry out the patterns of our emotional needs from our childhood. We tend to need those emotional needs met by, especially, our partner. Whether your wound was neglect, and that doesn't mean complete abandonment, that means you were not acknowledged. Your feelings weren't acknowledged. When you were sick, you weren't acknowledged. When you had a bad day, you weren't acknowledged. You were only acknowledged when everything was going well, when you didn't complain, when you were achieving something, whether when you were unbothered, when you were performing, that's when you were acknowledged. And that will show up in your relationships. Catch yourself when you're doing that. Like I caught myself about to cuss this man out. Why? Why? Let people be who they are. You choose whether you go back to that restaurant or not. You choose whether you go back to the environment or not. You choose whether you go to that circumstance or not. What are you showing God? What are you showing the universe? Oh, yeah, I'm willing to be disrespected if it's enough money. It's okay. If it's and I was offered another, it was a nice amount for like a really short distance. And I was just like, no. I said I wasn't going to do it anymore. Even if I want to go see the other women who treated me nicely there. No. I would not put myself in this position again. No, I have to trust that better opportunities will come. I have to trust that what needs to flow through me can come through any person, anyway. Not shortly after that, I got like a $40 tip. You are being shown opportunities to evolve or digress. I've mentioned just like, ooh, that one's. I'm having these experiences like, wow, that stung a little bit, but my bounce back game is way quicker. You know what helped me? I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you for showing me that. This is good. This is good. This is me defining exactly what I am not aligned to anymore. I am not aligned to that type of reaction anymore. So, universe, God, you don't need to send me experiences that will cause that. Because that's not what I want. I want experiences that cause joy, experiences that elevate compassion. These exchange, and I think honestly, me and this guy just kind of started talking like a day before I had that experience. And he wanted my number immediately. And he explained it tonight when we were talking. Like, he said, you're so thoughtful. You're so beautiful. You are so intelligent. And I've been dating for a while and I just know when something's special when it comes across me. And this could be all game. I choose to think and to believe that it's good either way, whether it becomes something or not. It's good. We had such a great conversation tonight. And I think that was the ripple effect of me having boundaries where my attention would be. And I told him, I don't move like I move how I want to move. If somebody's telling me, I want to get to know you, I want to get to okay. I love that. I invite that. I'm open to that. But you will not rush me. You will not pressure me. Even if you think that's what you want, even though you're like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be upset or he's not gonna like this. Thank you. Thank you. Cause my future partner, just how I have practiced delaying gratification, I'm not quick to give up, especially if I'm really thinking something is worth my time. I recognize value because I recognize value in myself. I recognize when people have the characteristics that I'm calling in for this next season of life. And he essentially basically kind of told me that. He's like, men know. Men can read energy, even if it's through a picture, even if it's through one interaction, especially when they're ready. This man is ready. He has a lot of the qualities I'm looking for and not necessarily looking for that align well with me. You could just tell he's a natural protector. And women, when you're tapped in, you know what safety feels like because you start creating a safe environment for yourself. Whether that's saving enough money, whether that's making sure your health is not compromised, whether it's not putting you in compromising situations. Like if I were to see that man again, I would want to cuss him out and tell him about himself. Why? He knows about, look at the life he's living. Let him live his life. You have far other things to be, put your attention on, your energy on. Thank you, God, for showing me that that's there. And I'm ready to move past it. And I'm ready to move beyond it because I know I don't have to go anywhere where I have to tolerate disrespect just to earn money or just to find value. I can create my own value. I can create my own safety. I can create my own decisions. I can create my own circumstances. And I choose not to be in circumstances where I feel like my value is even if it's being played with, even with if it's being dabbled with. I take my energy. And you remember I started with that job. Do you remember when I walked away? Not having a backup plan, but knowing you just compromised my value. You just told me my value, and that doesn't align with me. It was a pretty good job. It was a pretty good paying job. I was promised to get more. When I finally brought it up, I was met with anybody would be lucky to have this job. Anybody would be lucky to be being paid this. I was like, nope, but this is not what we agreed on. No problem. And I had to actively move. Am I going to say this is good enough? No. A week and a half, 2 weeks later, I got offered a job I really wanted without a resume, without any forewarning. This woman reached out to me on Facebook. She said to text her. We had a 2-hour conversation. Met with her business partner 2 days later, had another 2-hour conversation. They brought me on as the third in a growing company and whose products I actually use. Very boutique. They have contracts with Virgin Hotels. They have contracts with hotels downtown. This is going to put me into rooms that I couldn't even imagine. And I think it's spurring or compounded from me saying, I will not stay where I'm not valued. I value myself. I put enough into myself. So now, not that I have to adapt to the environment. Oh, I just got to change the environment. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, my value is iffy here, but my value over there, like this man explained to me so thoroughly. Oh, so men do recognize me, and I'm not doing anything different. I don't look different. I feel different probably. Yeah. I had to I said, all right, this has been wonderful. We could have talked for maybe 3-4 hours, but I had to cut it at 30 minutes. I'm like, no, this is our first real conversation. Like we've sent voice memos together to each other, and those have felt really good. And it's sacred getting to know somebody. It's sacred for somebody to open up to you. And this man, I I ended our conversation with telling him, I feel really good and I'm not focused on what is to come of this, but I said something along the lines of knowing somebody like you exists has, in a way, like expanded my heart tonight, expanded my vessel tonight. I just feel expansive talking to you. He's going through a change too. And I think that's such a powerful place to be. And he understands what the feminine means for him in his life right now. And he basically told me, he said, to be honest, providing, protecting, serving for somebody. In so many words, he's like, this is what makes me feel like a man. This is what makes me feel great. And for him to recognize that is how he is wired and not wanting to take the easy route, not wanting to, what he truly understands the anthropological makeup of what he is here to do as a masculine man in this world. And that even makes me want to expand more of being in my feminine. I notice I talk more gently when I speak to him. I talk slower. He listens to everything I say. He says I ask the best questions. I'm like, oh, you just haven't been asked these. He's kind of telling me how his experiences have been. He said, you are by far. Now, mind you, this man he's established. He comes off as kind of like, he comes off as silly, confident, sure of himself. I can see why people would get nervous talking to him. He has a big voice, deep voice. And he kind of briefly talked about his experiences dating. He said generally women tend to move pretty fast. Although he said I am the first person he's talked to without children. And he was saying that it's not just their hearts at stake, it's the kids' hearts at stake. He's like, you can't help but get connected to people's kids. And he has 2 kids of himself, so he can, relate. But I guess women were being in a rush to like meet the children and all that. And I can relate to that because my mom was, mm, I think it's a little different for dads. Maybe, who knows? I'm still learning this. I'm like, I just have a white dog. And he was like, you are the most intelligent, the most thoughtful person I've talked to in my dating experience. I'm like, whoa. Because I ask questions. I allow a man to lead the conversation, to facilitate the conversation, but there's also things I want to know. And I could see that he's wanting to show up for me. So I love that he has his read receipts on. Oh, I love when a man has his read receipts on. He's quick to communicate, like, hey, are you open to chat? He's not, we don't have to use fluff, like, oh, good morning, hey, how you doing? But when we talk, it's really intentional. And I feel like that's so refreshing. And he just talks about how, oh, I just got to, oof. I believe this man when he's talking because I've been so truthful with myself. I can recognize when truth is in my vicinity. This man is ready. This man has the utmost desire to protect and provide. He is basically not fulfilled until he has those responsibilities again. For the feminine. I mean, he does it for his kids, but for the feminine. He has a long history of serving. He never imagined himself divorced. I'm like, yeah, when you go into a marriage, of course you don't expect like, yep, I'm gonna give it about a couple years. No, you think you're in there for forever. And it's just nice to hear life through other people, especially when they really have gone through something and they're not using it as why they can't do something instead of this is why I can do something. Like he was in a war. He was literally blown up. Spent almost a year in the recovery unit in some hospital in New York. I won't put all his business out there. But to go through adversity like that, I'm attracted to people who cannot be swayed easily. Whether that's by their addictions, whether that's by their conditioning, whether that's by their fears or traumas. How easily can you be bought? How easily can you be bought? One satisfying meal can get you off your lifestyle change, huh? One call from that ex can get you off your newfound dating experiment. Wanting to cuss this man out in a restaurant. I don't even have an emotional charge when I say that anymore. Like I feel nothing in my body. That's wild. I would have still felt a tinge of sourness. And I feel nothing. When you really start getting in tune with your body, it's constantly sending you signals, even when you're talking to people, when you're living your everyday life. While this man was talking, my body was doing this, not this. We had this just receive and flow, receive and flow. I love how he talks to me. I like how he talks to me. So I'm curious. I am curious. And that's all we can ask to be. Just be curious. This doesn't have to be the be all. The job doesn't have to be your life. That person doesn't have to be the one. There's multiple ways of going about things. Just remind yourself what your desired feeling is: joy, protection, service, advancement, acknowledgement. It's way easier to focus on the end of what you want than how it's going to get there, because even you can't imagine all the ways it can possibly get to you. So keep an open mind, learn through other people. Don't stay in situations that even hint at questioning your value. I love you so, so much. I'll see you tomorrow for another day. I hope you have a great night. We in here. I love you. Bye.